Came home last night and everything in the freezer was starting to thaw out. Puddle of water in there from melted ice and stuff. I started looking into it this morning and going through the troubleshooting and diagnostic checklist that Coastal Climate Control gives you. This is a Frigiboat Capri 50 compressor. It's a Danfoss compressor. Everything's pretty much plug and play with the Frigiboat kits. That's why we got the Keel cooler you saw installed on our previous videos. Learning a little bit about refrigeration, doing a lot of research. We bought this thing in April at the boat show and we got 15% discount at the boat show for like $1,600. And that was in April 16th, 2013. It could be one of a couple of things. There's a smart speed controller on there that bases compressor RPMs on load. Now this thing's obsolete, so they've got an upgraded Merlin 2 speed controller that I'm probably going to look at getting. My biggest suspicion right now, it's probably the O-rings inside these fittings. Plus I've got the Keel cooler to still install, so at this point I'm going to change the O-rings on the main evaporator. Possibly have to recharge it through this fitting right here, and I was just about to take that off, and I got some adapter fittings and also some R143A refrigerant. If all the other checks that I'm doing check out, then it's probably the R134A that I have to put in. If it is the leaky O-rings, I'll change those when I do the Keel cooler, and then I will inject some refrigerant in here. One thing I did learn after 10 years of flawless use was the extra evaporator line is supposed to be coiled up horizontally. And mine's coiled vertically. So you do about a 5-second burst, they say, and then wait for it to stabilize. You got to let it get processed through the system and then liquefy again, and then it'll all balance out when the gas and liquid returns.
How long do you wait between?
20 minutes.
Oh, 5 seconds and 20 minutes?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a long time.
It is.
Okay.
All right, so
I'll come back. I'll shut this door and come back and let you out later.
Okay. I'll stay down here with my headlight on. Our refrigerator finally crapped out on us, so we're pulling it out and putting in a new one. Seemed like there was probably a leak in the refrigerant line somewhere, either the evap plate or somewhere in between. I changed the O-rings, put some Freon in there, and that didn't seem to do the trick. And then actually tipped the bottle a little bit and put some liquid into the compressor, and then I got this air hammer thing going on. Actually,
liquid hammer.
Well, there you go. You should be talking to Jenny about this because she knows way more in her line of work about refrigeration systems than I do. Since we installed the new Keel cooler after the haul out, I've got 2 dead refrigerant lines that need to be plumbed into series with this whole compressor evaporator plate thing. So we're going to do that as well. So we'll get the Keel cooler hooked up. It's supposed to be like 90 degrees this weekend. We haven't had refrigeration since Wednesday, so we're kind of pressed to get this thing dealt with. The evap plate, it's I think 42 inches long by 10.5 high. We kind of built a curve into it to wangle it around. So this thing keeps things really cold, and it really chugs along. And with the smart speed controller, it ramps it up as needed, so it doesn't just start and run hard. We've got the digital thermostat, and I've actually got it running right now because we were actually using this as an ice box. After we lost our freezer on Wednesday night, we went to Plan B and used this as a cold box with a spillover fan. That pulls the cold air from the freezer, and that's what keeps the refrigerator side cold. So that's controlled by this little digital thermostat that seems to be about the only functioning piece of this whole system after 10 years. So a big thanks to Devry, our marina manager here at Owl Harbor, for letting us stash our stuff in her houseboat freezer while we do this little repair. God, I don't remember how I got this thing in here. I had to bend it. There's bending instructions, and then you got to carefully unfold it and unroll it as you install it. So it's pretty darn close. Anyway, this is the monstrosity that I got to find a way to fit back in. So California has 3 seasons: summer, winter, and the pollinating. And we are in the midst of the pollinating. So right now I am just absolutely exploding with allergies in the valley here. So anyway, sorry for the sniffles and everything on camera.
I don't have allergies.
Jenny doesn't get allergies. And Jenny doesn't get bit by mosquitoes either.
I don't.
So I don't know. We got lucky. All right, so the big package arrived today. It's Fragile.
Fragile. It must be Italian.
It actually is Italian. Vigo, this company, they make a couple of different types of refrigeration systems for marine industry. So we got another Danfoss DV50. Apparently they're pretty reliable.
Unless you add liquid to them.
Okay, I'll accept that.
The bit.
Slightly bent.
Why?
I don't know. They can get it into place, but hopefully there's nothing else compromised as a result. So yeah, this thing's got a really considerable bend to it. But I think it looks like it's only in the
Plate.
the plate. I've got to bend the evaporator plate. I was looking back at our old installation photographs. That's what I had to do to it to get it inside that tiny little freezer box. Thing's like 40 inches long, and you got to bend it very carefully so as not to kink the refrigerant pad. And it's specific in how it has to be mounted. This side has to be mounted up, and then you got 9 feet of copper tubing you got to uncoil and feed through the hole.
So what are we doing instead of what we're supposed to be doing?
I'm pondering my situation here. I
Pondering.
think that's some way to...
Pondering requires nuts.
Just only use this to coil it up. This end isn't that big of a deal. It just says to avoid cracking paint, heat it with a heat gun. I just got to curl it up into a 9x12
Yeah.
package.
Here's the tape.
The tape and the tape.
Here's the tape.
It actually bends really easy. These aluminum, like powder coated aluminum.
Yeah, I just worry about kinking it.
Hmm?
I just worry about kinking it.
Yeah, I don't want to kink it. That would not be good. The trick is to straighten it back out once I get it in that box. Okay. Yeah.
My thoughts make me tired, just running through my mind. Wonder if there's peace that I could find, instead of always being on the grind. I need a new purpose. I'm looking for so much more. Don't leave me here searching.
I've got to start feeding this end in
Okay.
that way
Yeah.
as I
Unroll the other side.
unroll the other side, but I'm wider here, so there's still gonna be some bending going on.
Okay.
It's gonna be a trick. So
What do you want me to do?
change the battery in the camera. So now I just gotta bend it in a little tighter and shove this thing back.
Run away, run away, run away into your escape. Run away, run away, run away, run away, run away.
So right here, this hole lines up with the holes in the
It does?
teak strip. Yeah.
Nice.
This seems to be working, smacking on it with a dead blow hammer and a water bottle wrapped in a towel. It's not damaging the ribs in where the refrigerant lines run through this plate. So just keep doing it. Okay, so that gets that right up against that hole. There was an existing hole right here. That looks pretty darn good. Beautiful. As good as it gets. For the compressor here, there's a speed control board and it's all automatic. It's a soft start with a ramp up control profile. This is called the Merlin 2. There's actually 3 terminals because one of them is a diagnostic port as well. So it'll give you a blinking light to indicate compressor status if it's working correctly or not. And then there's piggyback connectors that go to the positive and negative from the circuit breaker feed for the refrigerator. This little circuit board actually mounts like this. And then the thermostat plugs into the C and T pin on this side right here. I got the compressor mounted to this plywood. I've got to coil up the lines horizontally, but I've got to make the connection, so I've got to leave some slack. So it's a whole discombobulated process here, but the shelf can go in now. And then I got to hook the keel cooler in line with this compressor and also the evaporator. So based on the diagram, this is how you put the keel cooler in line with the compressor. This one has some sort of an air dryer or something. I don't know what it is. It's a bulb, but there's a specific arrow and it says it needs to be installed pointing down according to this little print that came with the keel cooler when we installed it at the boatyard. If a keel cooler is to be connected to an air-cooled condensing system, and match the 2 blue tagged couplings first, then connect the red tagged tube on the Capri to the yellow tagged tube on the keel cooler. Finally, connect the red plastic covered tube from the keel cooler to the red tag tube on the evaporator. Basically, the only thing I have to do now is hook up the thermostat wires to the little speed control board and then hook up the Power cable. That's the spillover fan control right here. So right now, the fridge box is 37. I mean,
63.
63.7. And in fact, I've got to reach in here because the thermostat, the mechanical thermostat in here is off. I'll turn the freezer up to 3. So I can hear the speed of the fan progressively ramping up. There's a green LED on this board here. So it just blinked 3 times. So it's in medium mode, 3 out of 6. So it starts out in middle and then it'll progressively ramp up. It was actually lower when we were inside the boat. So jumping down into here, I just caught the ramp up. It's actually really quiet without the fan. So with that keel cooler running, the fan doesn't run. Ooh, already 0.2 of a degree.
Yeah,
Whoa.
63.7 to 63.5.
Okay. Within the first 15 minutes, we should probably start seeing frost on the evaporator plate. No, we're not going to load up the freezer until we make sure everything's cold. But yeah, whatever I want.